Hey folks, welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I want to discuss a very important prophetic dream, actually a prophetic warning, which mainly revolves around a major hack involving banks and Cash App, which is a mobile payment service mostly used here in the United States and other places around the world. Now folks, there's a lot of things that are going on in the financial realm here. So before I get started, I am not a financial advisor. I am just sharing information, giving you my thoughts and my opinions on that information. And if you guys like these videos that I make, the support links are down below in the description and also the About section of YouTube. All right, folks, there's a lot of things going on in the financial world, especially the cryptocurrency markets, dealing with FTX. And the fallout from FTX, it just seems like it keeps growing and growing. And there's a lot of companies and a lot of individuals that were hurt by what has taken place with FTX. And so the fallout will continue on and on as more people do research and they find out which companies are connected and how much money they lost. You know, we might see some other smaller exchanges collapse and some of these other companies really financially hurt. Now, one of the things before I get into the prophetic dream, the prophetic warning, with all this stuff going on with FTX, and this article that I have right here in front of me, and this is back on November 12th, and was FTX hacked? Deep dive reveals backdoor built into accounting software. In the later hours of Friday evening, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried secretly moved $10 billion in funds to Almada trading firm via software backdoor. All right, so I want you guys to keep that in mind, backdoor, maybe when thinking about some of these other financial institutions, right? And it makes you wonder, you know, do maybe a lot more financial institutions have backdoors that we don't know about, right? The elite control everything, right? We're still in the bondage of Egypt and under the control of the powers that be, you know, that are above Egypt. And when I look over the years of all the hacks of all the financial institutions and all the hacks of people's information, you know, what I'm getting ready to share is not going to surprise me at all whatsoever. We just don't know who's going to be affected. And we don't know which financial institutions are going to be affected by any type of fallout. And I think that's one thing that we need to start praying and saying, God, which financial institutions do we need to get out of? Simply saying we need to get out of the banks and pull all your money out of the banks is not good enough. If you have $100,000 in the bank, yeah, good luck going to the bank and trying to pull out all your money without being asked a whole bunch of questions or even be refused. And you're not going to keep all your money at your house because, you know, you could have a fire, or even if it's in a fireproof safe, somebody could steal it, and then which means you would have to even have a safe that you can't even move, right? So there's just so many other things that when I think about the banks and the banks collapsing and all that, I believe that we will be given specifically instructions on which banks to avoid and so forth. And, you know, many of them are the big banks, right? We discussed those like JP Morgan, Citibank, and so on. So now I'm getting ready to discuss the prophetic dream. So think about that whole thing with the back door. All right, so this prophetic dream, this prophetic warning came from a channel called Wealth Transfer. I don't know his name. He didn't have his name in his video or in the description or in the About section, right? And he has several videos, one dealing with what I'm getting ready to share, and also about the president and Kamala Harris. All right, so I'm going to play the prophetic dream, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about it and dive into the details.
Hello, today's Thursday, October 27th, 2022, and I had a prophetic dream last night about the coming economic hack that'll take out people's money out of their bank accounts. Basically, I was in the dream, I was in a NASA-style control room with the left side with old CRT monitors and a right side with old CRT monitors, and on each of the screens on the left side there was fire, and on the right side the screens started to get fire too. And the left side's fire spread to the right side screens. So all the screens, the left side and the right side screens, were all on fire. I tried to unplug the Ethernet cable, for the internet on the left side, but it was already too late, and the right side screens got infected with the fire on the screens. The second part of the dream was I was with my dad, and it was a picture of a bank account, online bank account, and he said, I put in $1,000 yesterday, but the $1,000 is gone, and all that I have is $9 in there. And then there was some sort of RDP or R. It started with R, and then it was either a B or a D, and that was a currency that was hacked. That hacked it. So I'm thinking it's a Russian hacker that hacks the accounts. And in the third part of the dream, my dad says, well, other people probably lost more money. The third part of the dream was Cash App had a fire on the screens. So the screens said Cash App fire. So Cash App is apparently going to get affected and hacked on a fire.
So let's go ahead and dive into this now, folks. It is just a dream. I do believe that we should take it seriously, though. We don't know how long this is going to be. We know how long this is going to take. But I think that's why God gives us prophetic warnings, so it gives us time to prepare, to change if you're using, say, Cash App and you need to use a different service. But this link will be down below in the description. And if there are any other prophets or anybody who likes to study prophecy and you want to try to break this down, hopefully please put out a video or put a comment down below so that we can get confirmation. I think that's going to be very important that we get confirmation on this. I did look online on YouTube to see if there was any other prophetic dreams relating to this as far as Cash App. Now, the banking system or whatever, we know that there's plenty of prophecies we've been talking about for years and years. So the first thing is that he was like in a NASA control room, right, with old CRT monitors. And this is what a CRT monitor looks like. This is from 1997. If you want to get even older, right, you can see here some of the different pictures of CRT monitors. Right, here's another one from 1970. Right, so he had some CRT monitors on the left and on the right. And there was fire that started on the left side of the CRT monitors, and it spread to the right-hand side. Okay, and then everything was on fire. Now, when I think about the NASA control room in these different monitors, right, I think about like what I see, which I believe is in New York when they're ringing the opening bell and stuff. You see all these monitors and stuff like that. So maybe it's a room where the economy, maybe the different sectors of the economy is being monitored, or maybe just one sector of the economy, right? And maybe different areas within that one sector. Right? But the fire started on the left-hand side and went to the right-hand side. So it caught fire. Everything caught fire on all the screens. So whether it's one part of the economy or all the economy, the different areas of the financial world, it looks like this is going to affect everybody. And this is why I think about back doors, right? So keep that in mind. Then what he tried to do was he tried to unplug the power, but it was too late. Right, so I'm pretty sure that when this starts to happen, a lot of people will probably try to disconnect their computer, their phones from the internet, right? Because I don't think it's just going to be your computer. Most people use their cell phone, so a lot of people may try to disconnect their phone from the internet, but it's going to be too late already. I think this is one of the reasons why he's sharing this now with us so that we will be prepared. Then he was with his father. He had a picture of an online bank account. And his father had said he had just put in $1,000 the day before, right? And then today, now it's gone. I only have $9 left, right? So he had put in some money, and it looks like his particular hack was just a little bit less than $1,000. Then he said he saw what he thought was currency that actually performed the hack. And he said RDP or RBP, and I'm going to go over each one of those. Okay, so what is RBP as far as a currency? And I see here, as I did my research, there's a currency called the Royal Borneo Nations Pound, RBP. It's actually backed by 0.01 of a gram of gold, right? So I've never heard of this place before, but it's called Borneo. And doing the research, Borneo is actually an island that's split up between three different nations: Malaysia, Brunei, and Indonesia. So maybe these hackers, that is where they are actually from. Right? When you look at the overall map, this is Borneo, right? And then you can see Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. So the island is off that coast. You got Malaysia's over here, Indonesia, Philippines. So it's right there smack dab in the middle. So if this is where the hack came from, obviously this is going to be a well-planned, and if they're going to get a whole lot of people that are going to lose a whole lot of money. So obviously this is going to be a big operation. And it looks like they may be using Cash App to do it. So, and he said in the third part of the dream that his father had been talking about other people lost money, more, maybe even more money than him. And then he said that Cash App on the screens was on fire. So this may have to do something with Cash App. Right now, when you think about this, right, because I use Cash App, I know other people use Cash App. Some people use it for their business and so forth, or may use it a lot more often. So this is something to think about. There are other alternatives like PayPal. So even though that I use Cash App, some of you people even donate to me through Cash App, and some of you, like on a monthly basis, just send me $5 or $10. You know, I use Cash App to send money to other people and stuff. So we may have to rethink how we do things as far as our financial payments in business. Now, the other thing that he said was RDP. And that actually stands for, I couldn't find any currency to that. Maybe somebody else did, but I didn't see anything. But it also stands for Remote Desktop Protocol. What is that? It's a protocol developed by Microsoft which provides a user with a graphical interface to connect to another computer over a network connection, right? So a lot of times, say for instance, you need help with something on your computer or a software program and you call tech support and they have you download this special software so they can connect and control your computer. But it's not just with computers, it's also, they can use it for cell phones too as well. And actually scammers do this. They do this with whether you're on a desktop or whether you're on a cell phone, and they try to get control of it so they can either have access to your account and send money out of your account, which is very popular nowadays. If any of you guys have seen the Scammer Payback channel, right? A lot of good videos on how scammers work, how they get control of your computer and everything else, right? So these guys, there's actually a couple guys and they do reverse hacking, right? Well, they're actually hacking back and they shut down these scammers, right? I would check out some of those videos, but they get you to download the software, whether it's on your phone or on your computer, and they have access to all your information. And of course, this could also be done by, malicious software, something you downloaded or whatever, but this is on a mass scale. So that makes me think of the whole thing with the back door, right? So if this is a Cash App situation, they have access to all these people's Cash App and they're able to take out all this money, right? And maybe, I don't know if this is going to include other similar type services like Zelle and Venmo, right? It very well could be. Zelle is preferably used by scammers and stuff because in some of these bigger online banks, they use Zelle is already built into your online bank account. So you can make a Zelle payment through your bank. It's absolutely crazy why that would even be so, but banks are doing that now. So I don't know if it's going to be just Cash App, and maybe there might be other services that are affected too as well. That remains to be seen. But specifically, in the prophetic warning that they mentioned Cash App. Now, as far as this, you want to make sure that on your desktop that your remote desktop protocol is actually shut off. What you want to do is go to your settings and you type in remote desktop. And there's two options you need to look at. Remote desktop developer settings it should be off. And click on Remote Desktop Settings. And it says here, your home edition of Windows 10 doesn't support remote desktop. Okay, so that's good. And one more. Allow remote connections to this computer. I would click on that, and it just goes back to that same previous screen. All right, so that should be off too as well. So you do want to make sure that this is off on your computer. Now, as far as your phone, I couldn't find any information, at least right away within the, doing some basic research. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys as far as changing your settings in your Cash app. Now, just so you're aware, you don't want to have any of these software programs on your desk. This is Remote Desktop Protocol apps. That's Team Viewer, AnyDesk, Splashtop, Remote PC, Zoho, ConnectWise, Beyond Trust, VNC Connect. So you guys are going to have to do some research on this, right? Just to make sure, if you're not using Cash App, then you don't have anything to worry about. But, you never know how all this is going to play out. And you can also type in Remote Desktop Protocol, how to turn off in Windows 10. I was looking here for Windows Phone. I didn't see anything. So maybe there's some type of backdoor that's exploited on your Windows Phone. And it could, and people say, well, should I update your phone? Well, sometimes the update is where the flaw is. But somehow, some way, at least one of the things that's going to happen with all this, with this major economic hack, is that the Cash App somehow, some way, is going to take money out of your bank and send it to whoever these hackers are, right? And they're going to do it on many, many different users. Okay, and there's this article here, how to secure Cash App. It'll be down below in the description, right? But there are things that you need to do right now as far as your phone. And one of the things is change your cash pin, right? I don't know when this is going to happen. This could happen 6 months from now. But if you're going to continue to use it till you'll find an alternative, I would change your cash pin at least once a month, right? Also on your settings, allow others to find me at Cash App, which means that if somebody was to put in your Cash App, unless they have the direct link, right, other people can find you. That might be something you might want to turn off. Then you have another one that says incoming request. Allow others to request money from you. Turn that off for sure. Right? If you're running a business, you might want to try to do something different, but I'm not a financial advisor. I am just sharing this information with you guys so you can be aware prophetically speaking. Now, you can still keep your Cash App. Some people might need it for tax purposes, but if you haven't used it or used it very much and you want to delete it, make sure you delete all your card and any other banking information that is attached from there. If you need it because of tax purposes, because you use it a lot, or just disconnect your accounts that are linked to your Cash App, okay? So that's a pretty interesting prophetic warning. And as always, you want to pray over your investments. You want to pray for protection. You also want to pray for wisdom in this, because I'm not telling you guys to do all this stuff. It's just something to think about. And it may not just be Cash App. I mean, it could affect other services too as well. So most definitely, you want to be changing your passwords, changing your PIN periodically. And we're always looking out for warning signs with these different apps. And hopefully we get some more prophetic confirmation. And to those out there who do operate in the prophetic, see what God says. And us as individuals should pray too as well, because he could give us, normal folks things too as well. And hopefully maybe within the next couple weeks, we'll have some more prophetic insight on what will happen during this time period. Hopefully this contagion, this fire that spreads, I'm hoping that it doesn't have anything to do with FTX, but because this is some type of hack. So who knows? There's something to pray about, talk to your spouse about, or business partner, whatever the case, and make sure that you check your remote desktop settings. And if I can find any information on the phone, I'll supply that information with an update. I'm pretty sure hopefully somebody will have a confirmation word and I can find some additional information on the cell phone, because I really think that in order for this to happen, most of this is going to have to happen. Most people have their Cash App on the phone. They don't have their Cash App on a desktop, right? And this is going to affect a lot of people. And if you guys remember when I did the series on the dinar, and one of the things I said about when the wealth transfer happens, I'm going to buy all new computer equipment. Now, of course, that was a long time ago because my understanding of the wealth transfer, I thought, was just dealing with the global currency reset and a couple other things, not to the magnitude to where it's at now. So that is something to think about, that you will want a computer that's connected just to your financials, right? As far as like a desktop or iPad. And as far as your cell phone, I know you don't want to be carrying around a couple cell phones, but you want to make sure that your cell phone is protected because you'll be linking your cell phone with your financial institutions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick update. Everything that I shared with you guys before was recorded yesterday, and within that time period, I've heard back from Prophetess Rosalind and also Dr. Maria Conwell, and I'm going to go over both of some of the things that they said relating to this. All right, now, there's some thoughts that I have, and I keep telling you about the back door, about FTX, right? And he was able to pull out money through a back door. And the other thing was that he said he saw multiple screens that were on fire, but only one of them had said Cash App. All right, so that means that there's going to be a lot of different institutions that are going to be on fire. The one that was shown to him was Cash App. Now, it could represent, that app or actually apps that are like that. So that could mean all those payment types of apps. And so that's what really got me was the multiple screens. So what was on those other screens? One was he said screens were on the left, screens were on the right. All right. And it started from the left and it went to the right, the fire, right? So on each screen, what was the institution? Was it maybe banks or trading institutions or crypto platforms or just any other types of institutions that are able to go through a back door and start hacking everybody's accounts? So obviously this is beyond Cash App, okay? And I'm going to share this, folks. The enemy, if he can't stop the wealth transfer, which he's still trying to do, he's going to try to take your money any which way he can, cause havoc, cause chaos. So this first one that I want to go over is Dr. Maria Conwell. This is from her One Small Flame Telegram. And on August 15th, she posted 3 quick flash dreams. I'm just going to go over them very quickly. The first one was, I was at my dad's LBI house with my younger kids. We were preparing to leave as we knew the tsunami was coming. We were packing, and I was fitting the kids with life jackets. I looked at the bay and saw the waters had receded a lot and was shocked. The waves were overflowing in the bay moments before and all the water was gone. I told my husband we have to leave now. And so the interpretation to that first flash dream was, the Lord's interpretation, my child, the first dream is a warning of upcoming liquidity crisis. At one moment, there will be a lot of money, and then the next moment, all the money will recede, and you will be in a major recession. Okay, so that could represent the fire, right? And it just spreading, and that they had to prepare themselves with life jackets, right? Everything that we're doing right now, we're preparing ourselves, right? And then when this major event happens, right, there's going to be a major recession, but we're all going to be prepared. We'll be warned to leave when that time comes. Now, the second one deals with an emotional part about God strengthening your walk. But the third one, he says, lastly, I saw a plastic card like a credit card, and the person I was with said, "Oh, is that your I Get card?" And I said, "You mean iPhone?" And she said to me, "It doesn't work anymore." And I felt panicked, like I couldn't get my money out. The interpretation of that part is the third dream shows you the finances will no longer work as you expect. Right now, you use plastic cards to pay for things and to feed your household. Soon, these will not work, and a new system with phones will be in place. There will be a momentary block on access to capital while this is being implemented, and this will cause a panic. Now, when I think about that, if we see all these different monitors, right, and they're monitoring different aspects, different financial institutions, and one is catching on fire and it just spreads, okay, that's going to cause a lot of panic. And they're going to have to stop all payments, everything, right? And the whole thing about it is that we don't ourselves want to be caught up in this, right? So we've been warned, we've been sharing about, switching from the major banks to maybe your smaller, more hometown credit union type banks. But what other institutions that are going to be affected? I think that's going to be the most important thing. So she said that she believed that we will have a short period of time or temporary where we lose our access to accounts in our banks. Right? So she believed that this was the confirmation for that, because if this was to happen, something like this where all these institutions, different financial institutions are on fire, then yes, they're going to have to shut off access to that. People are going to freak out, until a new monetary system is put into place, right? So this could be the thing that kicks off our new economic system. So this here is just a warning altogether. And so one of the most important things is that we got to pray against the plans of the enemy. We're in a war, and that's what we're going to get into the next piece I'm getting ready to show you with Prophetess Rosalind Solomon. So this is her video that she put out today. This is where we have our battle strategy as far as prayer.
Welcome to Rosalind Solomon's YouTube channel and Yahweh God YouTube channel. Today is November 17, 2022. All right. TC Wealth Transfer. He sent me something, a video from another young man I never even heard of before. And he has a very small following. I think he's just getting out there. He only has 2 videos, right? So I listened to it, and I instantly, after I heard it, I just prayed and I canceled it. So I was like, God, should I make a video and have everybody else pray so they can cancel it? Because when all the church people get together, we pray. Woo! Fire! Guys. And the Lord said that the young man was telling the truth. So TC, shout out to you, my brother. You know I love you so much. So he sent me this video, this guy, right? He had vision about a big hack coming to banks. And I remember telling y'all that a hack was coming. I told y'all that last year for 2022 to 2023 prophecy. So when he said that, I was like, wow, confirmation, right? That and I saw many other hacks. I even saw crypto platforms getting hacked. Binance got hacked twice. A couple other ones got hacked. I seen some of them falling, crashing down. And look at it, FTX. What? Never even heard of FTX. God told me about an F in one of those videos, and I didn't get what he was saying, right? He said Binance, and then this one that started with an F. I didn't catch it, right? Oh, sorry about that. But anyway, so I had a vision that there was going to be a big hack, and God told me to tell y'all to pray, and y'all did. So when he said that, I knew he was telling the truth. And then he said he saw a Cash App on fire. Online. And I know for a fact when you see fire in a dream, it does not necessarily mean your house is going to burn. One time I seen fire in my dream like 2 years ago. That's the first time I really ever, no, the second time. 2 years prior to that. And 2 years prior to that, when I saw fire, a couple of years prior to that, back in 2017, I saw fire. And that's when I fell down the stairs and hurt myself and had to have stitches and stuff, right? And then a couple of years ago, I saw fire. And boy, I had the biggest battle of my life, right? So I know most of the time when you see fire, it means downfalls, spiritual attacks, great war. It could be financial loss. And then it also could mean the enemy's going to try and bring fire to you in your spirit room, so you got to put it out quick. And it could mean a fire could happen in your house, right? But then sometimes, like I've seen God with fire around him. So that's glorious fire. That's powerful fire. That's deliverance fire. So he said he saw Cash App on fire. And I was like, God, what in the world? Right? So God just told me to pray and ask him to intervene. So basically what God was telling me, they're going to try a huge hack with Cash App. Now, don't be afraid. Don't go and take your Cash App off. Don't go and unlink your bank. Don't be afraid. That's why God is telling me to say this now. For y'all to come in agreement with me and pray that he intervenes. and judges, every last one of these hackers. The guy said Russian hackers because he saw RDP. He said something about Russian hackers. And you know they be trying to hack, right? And you know Russia mad at America how they helping Ukraine with billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of Ukraine, didn't I tell y'all was going to find out what was going on with that money? He's like investing it in FTX and all that. Do you know him and Biden got into an argument over the phone about Biden not sending him any more money? What? It's in the news, right? So pray and agree with me that God intervenes and judge these hackers that's going to try and hack Cash App and try and hack our banking system to withdraw money. Most banks cover you anyway when you lose your money through hacks. But still, you don't want this to happen to you because you don't know how long it's going to take to get your money back, right? And if they hack Cash App, then that means they have access to, I don't know if it's going to be everybody, but it could be enough bank accounts, and that's how they could withdraw the money. And of course, your bank will give you the money back. Any kind of hack, we know that. But you don't want that to happen, right? So, God said to pray that he intervenes to stop these hackers from hacking into bank accounts and hacking into Cash App. He even told me, now the guy didn't say this, but God told me this, that the hack with the bank would be so bad to the point it could shut down banking systems, right? So if it shuts down banking systems, whatever banks they go for, you won't be able to get money out the ATM. Now, remember I told you I had a vision where the banks closed for like a day or two because they was resetting everything and people couldn't get in their accounts in the bank and they didn't know what was going on. They was going crazy, going bonkers, right? This could be the thing, but God said if we pray he intervene, he will do so. So it's probably not the hack that I saw because they shut down to reset. And for some reason, they didn't want to tell people that's what they were doing, that they were going over to a digital system, coming from cash system to digital system. And then they gave people 12 months to turn in their cash, to turn it to digital. And then after that, you only dealt with digital, gold, and silver. Now, I don't know when this is going to happen. I pray no time soon because let me tell you something. Once things go digital, guys, and we have no money, they got control over our money, over our bank accounts. They could stop us from buying this, buying that. Heck, they could freeze your butt, but we just trust in God. Get you some silver because silver going to go up next year anyway. I saw silver years ago. It's in my prophecy book online going up to $400 or $500. And I saw gold up to $4,000, $5,000.
Okay, folks, now this is what I did. I made the video. I sent the video to Dr. Maria and Prophetess Solomon. You saw Maria, what she had sent to me that in this, basically, especially with this third part, the first and the third part where there's no liquid, like there's a lot of liquidity and then all of a sudden there isn't, right? And then she said here that the interpretation of the third part, that soon these things will not work and a new system with the phones will be in place. And that's what just Prophetess Solomon just said about that everything's going to be shut down and then they're going to implement this new system. So once again, I'm thinking this whole thing with the back door. The most important thing that we need to do is pray to cancel the enemy's plans. Pray against the plans of the enemy. Ask God to intervene in this because, in the wealth transfer, this is supposed to happen right before what it sounds like to me they implement this new financial system. You don't want to be caught up in this. Okay, and Cash App was just one out of the multiple screens, folks. So we need to pray, ask God to reveal more about this, right? And how to protect ourselves. She did say, don't fear and start disconnecting your accounts and stuff like that. But that's something that you need to pray about. For me, I just changed some of the settings on my Cash App. And I believe that this is more or less a word for that time period. Because he had multiple screens. It started from the left and it went to the right. God showed him one of these institutions that's going to be affected. And there's going to be multiple financial institutions to the point to where they're going to have to shut everything down. Remember, he said that he tried to unplug the Ethernet cord, but it was already too late. So this major hack or whatever is going to be so massive. Right? So it's going to take a lot of time to plan all this too. And how they're going to get all these people's information and plan it to attack all these financial institutions all at once. I believe that this could be the big one where they really try to bring the economy and bring this world into chaos, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It could be, all the different ones that are like, you have your Zelle and your Venmo and your PayPal, and all this is probably orchestrated by the elites, and they want to take out everything. So they're going to have back doors to everything, because what if you delete all that stuff anyway and it still doesn't matter? So we got to be prepared in every way, and we just got to pray for protection. We got to pray for the plans of the enemy. Wow, so that's amazing that, they both shared basically the same exact scenario, right? Both Dr. Maria and Prophetess Solomon. That's amazing. So I'm really excited about that. And this is how we are supposed to work, and get confirmation from, the other prophets or dreamers that are involved within the wealth transfer. So just make sure at least you change some of those settings. Make sure you're changing your passwords and stuff anyway. But there will be a follow-up to this, because I know that God will share this scenario with other people. Now that I sit here and think about it, Prophetess Sharon from My Daily Bread. All right, and listen to this, folks. Now, if you guys remember, Prophetess Sharon from Now Daily Bread, remember I did this video. This video I did back on August the 17th, 2021. This is the video that she has, Prophetic Word XRP marks the spot. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just share her quick dream about this. And this correlates with what everybody is saying. This is what it's about, is about connecting the dots. This is so amazing. I'm so excited.
So the Lord said to me, X marks the spot. Now, a few years ago, many years ago, I had this dream, which I had already described in a video on what the Lord showed me about the financial realm. And in that video, I described to you the dream I had where we were all standing outside, and the bank had, the banking system had switched to a completely different system, and it was like somebody pulled a curtain. Do you remember that dream? I said somebody pulled a curtain, and in that dream I was very perplexed and very shocked, unbelievably shocked, and so was everybody else. And one of the things that got me so shocked and confused in the dream was I was asking, so where is, I said, what is this? What about silver and gold? I was just trying to make sense of how can they just switch the system. It didn't make sense. Of course, fast forward, many years on, it's clear now that the reason why in the dream I was wondering, shouldn't it be gold or silver, is because I had no understanding about cryptocurrency. In fact, cryptocurrency was not known when I had that dream.
So again, I believe that this is connected, a new financial system. This is the catalyst that's going to bring this new financial system in. Wow, this is completely amazing. We're just connecting all these different dots. And then just looking at Kim Clement's prophecies, there is a banking system that shall crash, and they shall say, but it is so big, how can this happen in America? And God said, it shall crash. It shall crash, and there shall be shaking just for a short moment in time. That was back in 2005. And he goes on to talk about the banking system. He's got multiple banking prophecies in his database. And all of this correlates together. And so everything is just amazing. All the dots are connecting. So don't panic. Don't fear. I mean, this is why we're doing this. And just pray and, put on your armor of God and pray against the plans of the enemy. So this is all that I have for today, folks. I hope that, if I have any other updates or any other prophetic dreams or visions that are sent to me that might be either on YouTube or Reddit or somewhere else that correlates with this. But we just got to make sure that also, too, maybe let's see what other insights God can give us concerning this. What other financial institutions, what other screens are we going to see that are going to be on fire? I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.